Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarasota Tim coming to you from inside the beautiful Crasher here in Sarasota, Florida. Welcome to Evening Chat. And let's get right into it, shall we? Woo! We lit a fire, didn't we? Man, I feel good. I feel better. I feel a burden off my shoulders. I feel free. And free indeed we will stay in this country with Donald Trump as our new president again. So I'm just going through the comments, and let me tell you, I know there's a lot of people that are voting for Harris. I have nothing against you. I do not want to sit here and say, are you an idiot? Are you clueless? You moron. I do not say that. I never will say that. I may say she's clueless. She has no idea what she's doing. She's a puppet, and she failed completely tonight with the Bret Baier interview. And we'll get into that in a little bit in a second. But I first wanted to talk about the Pandora's box that has been opened up on Sarasota Tim YouTube. And I'm glad, because I knew my community was, by and large, a conservative, God-fearing community. The salt of the earth, like I've always said. And anyone with common sense that's faced... Now, had we had some other high intellectual businessman running against Donald Trump, because of his brash way and the way he talks and things like that, I'm over it. I mean, it didn't bother me from 2016. He has said some things that are out there, some things that I would never do or say, but I understand that's him. But if there was another candidate that was in the Republican Party that stood by all the values that me and mostly, I'm sure, my community and Americans, patriot Americans, believe in. I mean, I'm 65. I know what people think and act and do in this country. I wasn't just born, I'm not 20, where 10 years ago I was only 10. And I've only got 10 years of knowing stuff. Don't listen to Facebook and TikTok and YouTube and all these other intellectuals out there, so-called intellectuals. All right? So, I watched tonight with an open mind. I'm an open-minded person. I'm very fair. In fact, in the comments, I let you ride until I do a little investigating and find out, like I say, you just got a means to an end. By and large, it is an overwhelming, happy celebration out there that I couldn't be happier with you, the community. That also makes me feel confident that hopefully Donald Trump will win this election, unless other things happen. And we've seen it all. So, am I worried? Kinda. But let's talk about the interview tonight with Miss Harris. And I'm going to start with the positives. The positives were she came out and she tried to emulate Trump from the very beginning, like he did in Chicago with the Brit guy that asked him questions about, at the Bloomberg interview. And she was obviously, everything about her is obviously controlled of what she says, what she doesn't say, and what she does. So they told her to come out and filibuster. For those of you who don't know what that means, that she was just going to basically just start talking and cutting down Donald Trump using the video and the airtime, just get in her shots. But at the same time, avoiding the tough questions that no doubt were going to come from Bret, what's his name? I was going to say Bret Hume. That's his. That's one of his people that talk on the show. Bret Baier. And Bret Baier lives in Palm Beach County. He's got one of these multi-million-dollar homes. He gets paid big bucks. So I guess that's why they had her, had him interview her, and maybe she agreed because he's a big name. More people watch Fox News, more viewers than any of the other medias combined, all included are Republicans, Democrats, and independent swing voters. Everybody watches Fox News. And so they thought it was an opportunity because basically she sees the polls going the other way and that she's losing and likely will lose. So it's like what Trump says, what the hell do you have to lose? So she comes on there, and the people behind the curtain that are controlling her tell her just to filibuster and to take shots at Donald Trump to keep her base stoked. But did she? And so she did that. I'm trying to stay on the positives. She did that. She was aggressive. She was assertive. She didn't have a teleprompter. She actually had to speak more than she's ever done that I've ever heard her. And most of the opinion hosts after the show, they gave their opinion of it, all agreed that she should do more. They didn't say she won or came out ahead, and we're going to get to that in a second, but she should have been doing more of these, because anything you do often enough and long enough, you get good at it. I mean, I remember the first time I was in sales all my life, door to door. The first time I knocked on somebody's door and they came, I was shaking in my shoes. I mean, like, have it, you know, and then, you know, now you can see what I do. I'm not short of words at all. You know, good thing I got nobody here to interrupt me, because this is just a one-way. You have to listen, unless you just turn me off. But she came out and she was assertive, and Brett did a good job, and she was smart. I'm not saying this was right, but she came in late. They whittled it down. I thought it was going to be an hour interview. It was only a half hour, so Brett could, you know, talk for 30 minutes afterwards and about how good of a job he did, and all of his co-hosts would say what a great job he did and all of that and toot his horn. But the 30-minute interview, she came in late and she agreed to only do 20 minutes, and then to come in and filibuster. So you can see, I mean, I see it. If you didn't see it, now you do, because I just told you. That's exactly what happened. Now, how did she do? Let's go to the negatives. She was smart in how she played her game, because she was on foreign turf and she just did what, you know, she had to do. But because she has no real policy or real answers, or to come up with why she said what she said, and all those video clips that we've seen a million times of where she says the complete opposite of what she says she's going to do now and what she believes in now, I thought there was a couple of key points in the interview. And one was about, of course, the immigration, you know, and how this lady, they showed a clip, her daughter was killed by one of these illegal immigrants that came across the border that was just set free and killed her daughter. And he said, do you think you owe her an apology? And she did say that she's sorry and that, you know, she feels terrible about it. But, you know, I don't know if that's much of a consolation to the mother, when they should have just closed the border, kept our border the way it should be. Nobody should be coming across our border. Do you want anybody coming in your house that's not invited, that you haven't given permission? You can't do that. We're a sovereign country. So she had very, very lame answers on the border, of which she's a complete fail at. And she's supposed to be the border czar. And then the question about, when were you aware of the decreasing mental state of Joe Biden? That you said that, you know, he was sharp as a tack. And we could see his declining, that he's got some issues. And she pretty much just lied and said that I've seen him, and then about the I've seen him in the meetings, and he's good. That's withholding information. That's not doing your duty. You got the most powerful person in the world, and you're second in command, and they're not able to make sound decisions. You, her, and everybody else around her should have said something, but no, because he wasn't doing anything. It's the people behind him. It's who's running this show. Because she's not going to be running it if she wins. There's a lot deeper stuff going on, folks, than we know. But anyway, then they ask her, what about letting illegal immigrants in prison have sex changes. She goes, I will obey the law. But she didn't have an opinion. Trump would have said, I wouldn't go for it. You know, I mean, she has no, people still don't know who she is and where she stands. It's all I heard was evasiveness, deflect, Donald Trump bad, me good, Donald Trump bad, me good. I mean, deflect, deflect, deflect. You know, I don't know if it's an old lawyer's trick or what she's been coached on. You know, of course they asked her these questions and gave her supposed questions that were going to be coming her way during this interview. They prep her. Trump is prepped too. But again, he does his own thing. So, did she move the needle? Did she convince me to vote for her? No. Did I listen and look for something that I could at least defend her and say, because I'd be honest, you know, and say, well, this part, you know, it's only one thing, but, you know, but I didn't hear anything. I wasn't persuaded at all. And so I'm trying to think for like people that are undecided. I'm not undecided. They may have thought, well, that's a little different side of her than I saw. But I think after the media blitz and the commercials and all the stuff that they'll take from that and make commercials out of in the coming last couple of weeks here, 2 or 3 weeks, that people will, you know, their short-term memory. They'll just go back to, no, I'm voting for Trump. Or, no, I'm still voting for Harris. I don't know if she persuaded anybody. Had she been doing more of these, and she may, because that's kind of what they keep saying, and they listen, and she probably will. And maybe then she will move the needle. Maybe she'll come up with some new arguments, some new things that will get a few votes. And I'm not saying she didn't change some minds tonight to maybe like was thinking about her. That ain't got no use for Trump, but they were going to go with him because he seems like he's just better for the country. But they were like, maybe, you know what? Damn Trump. I'm going to give her a shot. I mean, she may have convinced some people. You don't know. Advertising is what I was in my whole life. It's powerful. And everybody thinks differently. Everybody's got their own thing. You don't believe me? Read my comments. And that's a very, very small sample. If you read the comments on other YouTube channels of even the Fox News or other YouTubers that talk politics, you know, they'll have, you know, 1,000, 2,000 comments. And it's when you read the comments, it's quite interesting and sharp how some people make comments, make jabs, make analogies, point out certain things that, you know, I would never think of. And I'm like, wow, this is really eye-opening. And that's how we learn. That's how we understand things better, by not closing our minds to being so blockheaded that we only want to, like nobody, hard-headed is what I was called when I was young, to open your mind. I mean, there's no all, in all, at all, whatever, however you say it. There is options. And the story is that Donald Trump is going to win the election by a landslide unless something happens, something fishy, let's say, for lack of better words, or out of nowhere, Ms. Harris will win. Well, what are we going to do? But otherwise, we'll continue to go on living our life happy, positive, working out, staying in health, staying on the carnivore diet as long as I can. I'm really getting strong at the gym. I tell you, I went there and bench press today, and I'm putting up some weight. I'm ready to put some more on the bar, maybe tomorrow when I go. And I know that the protein that I'm eating with no carbs is turning my fat, and I had plenty of it, into muscle. So I'm not seeing any weight loss, but I am seeing a big increase in my strength and a little bit in my toning. I feel a lot toned, but I don't look it as much. But when you start working out, you feel your muscles. We're back on me again? I love it. Who cares about all that other crap? You know, I'm sorry I started talking about it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because I want to encourage everybody to vote. And voting is where you put, that's where you put your mouth. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your vote in the ballot box. Wearing a shirt, a hat, sticking a sign in your yard, talking about how great one is or bad one is, doesn't do anything at all without a vote. And it could be very, very close, folks. Your vote could be the one that sends it over the edge. You and your family, you and your neighbors could be the extra 3 votes, 5 votes, 100 votes in your church, in your community, around your, where you go golfing or whatever. But collectively, every time I vote for Trump and somebody else votes for Harris, we just wash each other out. It's like, when a football game gets down to a tie game at the 2-minute warning, you got a brand new football game. You got a 2-minute football game now. All the other stuff was for nothing. You got 2 minutes now to play football. You ever looked at it like that? That's the way I always look at it. Every time it gets down to a tie at the 4th quarter, I'm like, well, all that other stuff was just a waste of time. Now we've got, the last couple of minutes. And now we're down the last few weeks. So more than watching videos, more than typing comments or who you're going to subscribe or unsubscribe from, put your money where your mouth is and mail in your ballot. Go to the precinct on the voting. What do you call them? The voting places on voting day, and cast your vote. And make sure you bring your ID, because they're going to ask you for it in every other state except California, I think. That's ridiculous. It's against the law for someone to ask you for your voter's identification in the state of California. So the things that we all know, without going into them specifically, that we've heard and seen and read about that Miss Harris has done in her career in San Francisco and all over California, and the things that she's on video saying, and people don't change. Look at Trump. He's never changed. He's the same as he always has been. He's never flip-flop on his policies and how he feels about this country. She is just, there's no other word, folks, but she's disingenuous. She is doing and saying anything to gain power so that her and the people behind her can do the most crazy, most radical things that this country has never seen before. And I suppose it can be done. I mean, we have a president that says they're the leader and they run the show, and they've got the military and they've got the government and the FBI and the CIA and the IRS and everybody else. And they can make life hell for you if they want to do some things that we've never seen before. Taking away things, adding things in that we don't want. How would you like it if you said something and then somebody knocked on your door and goes, oh, we saw where you wrote or you said, and we don't like that. Come with us. And you're gone. And who knows where you're going to take you? I mean, it can really get to that, folks. Look at these other countries that are at war. They got missiles landing in their neighborhoods. They're living in rubble. They don't have anything in the stores. There's no food, like, oh, you're out of filet mignon? We're so spoiled here that we have everything, and people don't want to say anything. People don't want to rise up. And then when it's gone, then they're going to be crying like babies because, oh, what happened? You can't wait for that. It's on the brink of that. Does that sound hysterical and serious? Hell yes. In 3 weeks, America could change. Could absolutely change. You know how we woke up on, March 20th or thereabouts? Go home, sit down, give us 2 weeks to flatten the curve. You remember that? And then what happened? It just went on and on and on. And it was a big reset. And then the inflation. And then so much happened every day and every week so fast that unless I name them, you probably forgot half of them. You remember walking down the street with a mask wasn't good enough then because your sneeze could go out with the wind, Now they were measuring it 20, 30 feet away. People were made to fear each other so we wouldn't talk to one another. People were arrested for going to church. I mean, you talking about overreach? You haven't seen anything. They're getting tired of kissing babies and shaking hands. They're ready to just tell you, we're the ones telling you how it is. And all we do is go like this with a pen, and we send out to people, and we stop the digital money. Your credit card doesn't work. You're on file. You got to surrender your guns. Give me that $500 Glock you got for $20. Give me, everything. Let's raise your taxes. Let's change the Social Security ages. Let's cut it back. Let's spread the wealth around. Let's heavy. Rich people are the ones that give you jobs. Broke dicks don't write checks. They don't employ people. It's only the corporations and stuff. Do I say they need a break? Well, they need something to be able to give you money. You want that $100,000 a year job? Well, it's going to come from, and you're just one employee. It's going to have to come from some very wealthy corporations and companies in our country that can afford to give you those salaries, benefits, insurance, and all those things. It's a capitalistic country. Capitalism. You want to be the owner? Go get your own business and start up your own thing. Like they did. At one time, they didn't have anything. But sometimes people they don't want to do that. They just want to work for somebody. And that's the majority of people. So we have to have an economy that hits on all 8 cylinders. Everyone has to have their fair cut, their fair share, their fair of. Now, does that mean that I'm not for higher wages? Hell yeah, we need higher wages. Who can live on $10 an hour? I mean, if they're going to want $10 for a dozen eggs, we need to make $100,000 a year. So, yeah, they're going to have to come up with more money. But they can't come up with more money and give you more money if they have to give all their money to income taxes to the government. I'm not an economist. I'm just kind of spitballing here. But it just kind of makes sense that when people say Trump is for the rich, I've had plenty of people tell me in comments, and I know it for a fact because I can tell he's that kind of guy. He's a blue-collar kind of guy. He associates very well with the people that don't have what he has. I had somebody in the comments say that he came by in the 80s or something like that. He was wealthy then. And he shook his hand, he talked to the guys, and he wasn't too good for them. He tells you how it is. You know where he's coming from. You know how he stands. And you just got to get over yourself. Don't you want to live in an America that we've had? Are you my age? Don't you want to continue and go back? Because we're not going to continue. This is no good. I say vote for Donald Trump so Donald Trump can absolutely start crushing it.